The last question I have, is Eagle Mountain City doing enough to preserve open spaces in the wildlife corridor? And if not, what else can the city and, importantly, the residents do to achieve that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I feel like they've done a lot with very little funds to be able to do so. Like I said before, I was involved in those early discussions about that, and putting together a overlay zone for the wildlife corridor is a great first step towards that. That shows at least landowners where it's intended that we want this to exist and hope that they want to be part of that process. I think all of the things that they've enabled by bringing in the biologist to assist with that and being cooperative with the Division of Wildlife Services and Utah Natural Resources, is that what it is? With the banding of the deer and that type of thing, it has been a great partnership. Is there more they can do? I'm sure there is, but I think that's going to be fund driven as the funds are available. But I think the first part of it is to show where the land is, show where that can be, and then try to work with landowners as they come in and get them to help be part of that process.
Right. And what would you think that residents in particular could do to help contribute to the process of preserving open space and protecting wildlife?
Well, I mean, how we take care of the land is the biggest part of it, right? I think that we do a lot of consumable things that end up in our open space. There's a lot of paper and trash and things like that come out of our yards or out of our garbage cans, but also I think sometimes people just drop it as they're going. To start with, I think we need to be better stewards of the land that we have and clean up and not expect somebody else is going to do it for us. But also to buy into some of the ways that we can dedicate that. So I guess one of the things I probably should have mentioned is to be able to get some of these things to work, you have to work within the framework of what the city is trying to accomplish with their open space plan. And that's usually interconnected trails, parks, and things of that nature. And I think we've talked about this before with the wash. If we can get the trail system to follow along the wash, and we can connect it into Saratoga Springs and then connect it over into the Jordan River Parkway, now you have regional funds that you can use for that can also benefit the other parts of the wash intended use, which is for a protected corridor to go through. And so if we can utilize what's already in place and to find the funds that make sense by not just trying to do it ourselves, but asking for some help from Saratoga, the county, then I think we accomplished both things that are beneficial to the city. It also will help the developers also, because they have to do a certain amount of amenities when they develop. This could be one of those ways to kind of offset that and say, if you participate in this, we'll count this, this many points towards your amenity package as open space, and then we don't have to give up some of the things we don't want to give up.
Right. The thought just occurred to me that perhaps some of the people that are watching this may not understand amenity points or amenity package and what that would involve and how it could impact them as residents, what the choices are. Would you explain that?
Sure. So when an application comes from a developer and they want to develop a certain parcel of land, there's regulations that are in place that become funding sources for our land, for our water, or excuse me, not our roads, our water, our police force. They're called impact fees. And then there's requirements for them to develop a certain amount of land. They have to dedicate a certain amount of open space. And then the amenities are basically trails, park type benefits where I don't like to use tot lots because that was always the thing everybody did, but that would be an example of a pavilion, park benches. There's all sorts of different things that can be added, that pickleball courts, things of that nature. But we've also tried to get a little outside of some of those things and to come up with some things that were more of a natural open space kind of thing. And we've been having those conversations about maybe some education things along the trail about the different types of wildlife. Those could be things that could be added into that. I know at one point we also looked at the mountain bike park when we did that part up by Hidden Hollow. where they got points for doing the trailhead, parking lot, bathrooms, that type of thing. So.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your insights and the comments that you've made, and I think that our residents will too. Thanks for coming and sitting for this interview.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome.